Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the People's House, your house. This is the second annual Mayor Eric Adams MWBE award ceremony. And the theme that I have today is that the city is back. The city is back. Crime is down. Jobs are up. Contract awards to MWBEs are up. And that's why you're here. And there's a great energy in this room because we're driving effective MWBE change. And so the greatest city in the world, you are a part of it, and you have ownership in getting contracts. From a data point perspective, since Mayor Adams' first day in office, there's been $17.7 billion awarded to minority and women-owned firms. $17.7 billion. Hats off to the agency commissioners, to their respective staffs who are on the front line, who are changing the way that we do business, to do business more inclusively. We understand that access to contracts equals job creation in communities of color who have historically been shut out. It also means home ownership opportunity for the business owners. It also means better educational and healthcare options for their respective families. So thanks to the agency commissioners and their respective deputy mayors. And without further ado, I want to bring on the first deputy mayor, Taurus Springer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is truly an honor to be here with all of you to celebrate the remarkable achievements of MWBEs across the city. First, I'd like us all to give another round of applause to Mike Garner, please. An incredible leader, and he has an amazing team, and we would not be here today if not for his relentless and tireless leadership. I also want to extend a warm welcome to all of our distinguished guests, including our elected officials, MWBE program advocates, city agency leaders, MWBE vendors, whose collective efforts are advancing our city's commitment to diversity, to inclusion, and economic empowerment. I want to especially thank and provide our deepest gratitude to the elected officials and advocates whose support of the mayor's MWBE legislative and policy initiatives year after year have been so invaluable. When we go to Albany, when we make the case, it makes a world of difference that we know that there are partners in the state legislature in order for us to move the city forward and to lift up all MWBEs. So a round of applause, please, for our amazing elected officials who are here. I also want to make sure to recognize all of the agency partners, the agency heads, of course, and we have many commissioners who are here with us today, but all of the leaders within the different agencies, the heads of the procurement offices, the heads of program. It's really, we can give a round of applause to our program and procurement leaders. We don't reach these numbers by accident, right? We reach them because you believe in the mission, because you wake up every morning knowing that it's not just about the numbers, but it's because of your individual advocacy and leadership that we are going to make a difference. And so I'm so glad that you are here, and congratulations to all of you. But really today is about our MWBE partners and vendors. You really demonstrate what is best about this city. Your drive, your resilience, your innovation. You are thriving and leading our economic recovery. And so I am so grateful that you are here, and we're so thrilled to be able to recognize you. As Michael said, this mayor has had an unwavering commitment to our MWBE program. Since his first day in office, the city of New York has awarded, and he mentioned this, but I like talking about it because it's a big number, a historic $17.77 billion in contracts to MWBEs, with MWBE utilization surpassing 30% for the first time. So there is so much to celebrate today, but let me be clear that the work is not over. We have to continue looking forward to the future. So much more work to be done to make sure that MWBEs are fully represented, are included in all aspects of our city's economy, and that we remain as a city steadfast in our commitment to supporting MWBEs at every step of their journey. And so congratulations to all of today's honorees. Your achievements are a real testament to the power of hard work and determination and the collective impact we can have if we keep working together. So thanks to everyone, and we hope that you enjoyed this celebration of you. Take care.
Thank you, First Deputy Mayor, and we call her a master builder because she's building a lot of housing and a lot of other economic development projects. You know, there's a lot going on in the country as we currently speak, and that's an understatement. But one thing is for sure and for certain, that the city of New York is moving full steam ahead with this MWBE programming. If you think about this for a second, Bill Howe, that we live in a region that is pro-MWBE. The city of New York, the state of New York, DASNY, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the MTA, this is a pro-MWDBE city. And far too often we have individuals that try to pit one program against the other program, and that's not the way it should be, because we have an opportunity and obligation to make sure that this whole region is receptive to MWBE and redrive results. And so I want to bring the Executive Vice President of the Empire State Development Corporation, Jason Clark, who runs the state of New York's MWBE program, because when you have a strong state program, when you have a strong city program, it's good for everyone, because a lot of you are certified not only by the city of New York, but you're also certified by who? The state of New York. Jason Clark.
Great. Thank you very much, Michael. And thank you all for being here today. So as Michael mentioned, my name is Jason Clark. I'm Executive Vice President at the New York State Division of Minority and Women Business Development. First, I just want to take a moment to recognize Michael, recognize the city, recognize the mayor for all the amazing work they've done with MWBEs. We've seen such a sea change of improvement over these last few years, and they're really the ones that have been leading the charge there. Also like to thank our governor, Governor Hochul, who for her unwavering support of MWBEs and figuring out ways that we could be able to expand opportunities. And of course, my boss, I always feel it's good to say a couple of good words about her, but Hope Knight, who is the first Black commissioner of the Empire State Development Corporation. You know, Hope always tells us every single day about the importance of being able to build a vibrant and dynamic ecosystem here. And that starts by making sure folks of all different backgrounds have an opportunity to be able to participate meaningfully in our economy that's here. So I know for all of us here, it's, we do this work because, it's personal. And we were just hearing some of the great things that the city has been able to do. But I'll also say the state has been too shabby itself. Over these last couple of years, we got rid of a decades-long backlog. We were able to reduce the time it takes to get certified on average from 2 years to less than 65 days. We were able to certify and recertify over 2,400 businesses, MWBEs. And since Governor Hochul has taken office, nearly $12 billion has gone to MWBEs, representing the highest and second highest utilization rate in the history of the state of New York. So, give a round of applause for each and every one of you. So I was also mentioning that one of the reasons why we do this work is not just because it's our jobs, but because it's personal to us. You know, we recognize, we've seen in our own instances reasons and ways that as minorities, for gender reasons, that, you know, we're looked at a different type of way. And that's why it's important to be able to do this type of work. You know, if you're a Black-owned business, you're 3 times more likely to be rejected for a loan. If you're a woman-owned business, you are 46% more likely to deal with some type of gender bias in making a pitch to a client. If you're a Hispanic-owned business, even though 1 in 5 Americans are Hispanic, less than 7% of all businesses are Hispanic are out there. You know, and it means that we need to be doing more to be able to develop ways to reduce some of these disparities out there. You know, and that's why, you know, in 2025, we're going to be doing everything we can to be able to increase the awards, the amount of money that's going to MWBEs, to increase the number of individual businesses that are getting these contracts that are out here. We're going to figure out ways that we can connect more subcontractors with primes and figure out ways that we can take advantage of all these, you know, amazing opportunities that we're seeing here with the state of New York. And I'll say that if each and every one of you as entrepreneurs can take the time to be able to leave a steady and stable and safe job to go out there on your own because you knew you had what it takes to be able to build a better product and you knew you had what it takes to be able to provide a better service, the least we could do in the state is make sure that we are here for you and building ways to make sure that you can take access of all these opportunities. We keep hearing in these, I don't know, like in the last 6 months, I feel like, where words like equity and inclusion are used as epithets now, where we know that these are the words that actually mean that we are building something that is what actually makes us stronger here in New York. And I want you to know that with the state, in partnership with the city, in partnership with each and every one of you, we're going to be doing every single thing we can to make sure that in 2025, we have the strongest program we ever had. So thank you very much for your time and all the work you're doing. Thank you to Michael and the city and all that you're doing here. And, you know, let's get to work. Thank you.
And so we talk about perfect execution. Let me just recognize Medalia. This was her first event that she coordinated from A to Z. Medalia. And this is Karen's first event that she coordinated from A to Z as well. So, you know, there were a lot of phone calls and apprehension. And then we oversubscribed when I said, you know what, we're going to keep on going and we're going to keep on inviting because we're going to pack this room. We packed the room. You know, thank you. So, you know, Mayor Adams was the first mayor in the history of the city of New York that had gotten all of his MWBE bills passed in 1 year and signed into state law. And we could not move our agenda in Albany without very hands-on, effective people. And so I want to bring up one of my assembly ladies, who is also the chairperson of the Brooklyn Democrats. That is none other than Ronice Bichot Hermlin, who chairs MWBE in the New York State Assembly, who, I got to tell you, this 1.5 of discretionary bill that we tried to get passed, they called a special session in the Assembly on a Saturday, and she debated this bill on the floor for an hour because there were people who did not want to give the city of New York the ability to increase its MWBE threshold to $1.5 million, and she got it done. She got all of our bills passed. Assembly lady, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful audience. Let me just take a picture of the audience, okay? I got to do that. And you know what? Let's do a selfie. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much to our Chief Diversity Officer, to our mayor. Let's give it up to Mayor Adams. to our Deputy Mayor, Maria Torres Springer. Let's give it up to her and the whole team. But let's give a warm and loud applause to our Chief Diversity Business Officer, Michael Garner. I am so thrilled to be here. And I know before it was on a different date and they changed it, and I'm just so happy to be here to see all of you beautiful faces, minority and women here who are supporting the second annual MWBE Awards. I am grateful and honored to receive an award, a nice apple that I like to take a bite out of. But we got to put a little humor because it's a sad time, ladies and gentlemen. And we cannot move on unless we fight. And we've been fighting for a very long time. We're trying to get our acres, we're trying to get our mules, and every time we fight for those crumbs, we're back in the court being challenged. But now it's real. And so, I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to say that I cannot do this alone. And I've told many of you that. We've worked really hard over the past years. I've been in office for 10 years, and over the course of the 10 years, we've worked hard. We rallied to build the MWBE program, both in the state and the city, and the city has just done phenomenal. We have advanced, and I do want to give recognition to the state, Governor Hochul. You heard from Jason Clark, who's doing a fabulous job. But I want to say that, New York City has been the pioneer. As you heard from Michael, we went from 20,000 in the city of New York of discretionary funding threshold to 1.5 million. Yes. And we have passed the most bills ever, record-breaking bills ever, under the leadership of Michael Garner. We have rolled out a citywide mentorship program, unheard of, first city who's doing this. We have afforded affordable insurance for our MWBE community so that they can participate in a lot of these projects. And so that there's no excuse, we can't find MWBEs who could afford to do this. It's just so many, and you've seen the record-breaking numbers, 41%, billions and billions of dollars, and including all of these different agencies. And again, we cannot do this without the will and the hope of you all. And so I just want to end to say that we do have a lot. We have a lot of work forward. One of the reasons why I decided to go to law school is because I felt that, I can fight on the chamber, I can debate, but we need people to be fighting in the courts. We need people who's going to be representing us, making sure that we are included, that we have equity as it relates to wealth building for our families, for our community, things that are owed to us. Minorities and women make over 60% of the population in New York City, and we're fighting in the courts for 5%. 5%, y'all. It's a problem. And we have passed the stages of the 13th Amendment. We are not slaves. But it seems like there's a rollback that's happening here in our nation. So, without saying too much, I want to say we got to keep the movement on, strap our bootstraps, have our vest on, because we're going to fight. We're going to fight for our rights, our civil rights. We are going to fight to make sure that we are part of the society that we built. I thank you, and I thank Mayor Adams. I thank Chief Business Diversity Officer, Deputy Mayor Maria Torres, and the whole team. Thank you for being here and celebrating us. God bless.
So on behalf of Mayor Adams and the City of New York, we want to present to you your Crystal Apple Award on behalf of the greatest city in the world, New York City.
Thank you. And we're going to continue to make city the best city going forward.
That's right. Now, the State Senate, James Sanders. When James Sanders was in the New York City Council, he was one of the sponsors of an MWBE bill way back when. And now, in Albany, in the state, he is the chair of the MWBE committee in the New York State Senate under the great leadership of Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins, who is the head of the New York State Senate. Senator James Sanders, we thank you for your outstanding leadership. We thank you for getting all of Mayor Adams' MWBE bills passed in the state Senate. Without further ado, from the great borough of Queens, State Senator James Sanders.
Greetings, greetings. I'm going to do 3 things quick, and then I'm going to get off the script scene. Hey there. 3 things. First, I'm going to thank the mayor. He has done some amazing things, and I want to make sure that him, all of these great people behind the mayor, know that as long as he does great things, we're going to stick with him. As long as he does great things, we stick with the mayor. Second, I want to do an encouragement for the state. I'm going to try to encourage us. I understand that the city has a budget of $129 billion, give or take. Who's counting, right? $129 billion, and they did, what was that, $12 billion a year?
Last year was 6.4.
Oh, 6.4, I can't get my numbers right. $6.4 billion for MWBE. Outstanding. The state, which has a budget of $259 billion, had done $3 billion. But no, let's not get mad. That means that we can learn a lot from the city. That means there's a lot of room that we can grow to. And that's what we're going to encourage the governor to do. Some people say that this is a time when we should be quiet and hide. Wrong folk. We are coming out fighting up in Albany. We are going to fight until justice rolls like that mighty river that you've been told about. We are not finished. We're just beginning in Albany. My last point is, of course, I have been blessed to wear a lot of hats, and I would be remiss if I did not tell you I am the vice president of the NBCSL, National Black Caucus of State Legislators, and we have announced an initiative. Thank you. We have announced an initiative towards Africa. I have met with the African Union about how do we get some of those contracts? How do we make sure that the businesses here do not suffer under whatever madness is coming out of D.C., that if one door closes, another one opens, that we need to make a pivot if need be. So having said those 3 things and having, I saw Tiffany on the side giving me that look that said that my time is up. Right? And if you know Tiffany, Ms. Raspberry, as I know Ms. Raspberry, you do not want to get on her bad side. So I'm going to stay on the good side. I look forward to working with all of you. I look forward to you coming up to caucus this weekend. I'm rushing up there now. I would be remiss if I didn't put a plug in for the Taste of Africa that we're doing up there on Friday night. Now I shouldn't tell you that if you wore your African regalia, you would compete for a prize of $500 to the winner. Now, I'm going to win. However, I can't take the money because my friends here don't want to have to come and visit me. So under those conditions, that $500 is up there, and y'all should come and get you a taste of Africa and come and celebrate. May I remind you that all of us came from Africa. that some just left a week earlier, that's all. So having said those things, I look forward to seeing you up there. I look forward to working with you as we break through and make New York, New York for everyone.
And thank you, Senator. On behalf of the greatest city in the world, here's your crystal apple for your hard work and your leadership in the state capitol.
All right. Got my bite of the apple.
And now, without further ado, you know, there's a very iconic photograph that I have in my office, and when I'm having a bad day, I look at that photograph, and it's called The Gang of Four. And four individuals back in the late 1970s, they're walking down across 135th Street in Harlem. One of them was David Dinkins, the other one, Percy Sutton, the other person, Basil Patterson, who was the first black Secretary of State and the father of our first black governor, David Patterson. And the other is the Lion of Lenox Avenue, Charlie Rango. And there are so many of us, Reverend Jacques DeGraff, who are products of the Gang of Four. It was about empowerment. And little did we know that on that day in the late 1970s, that David Dinkins would become the first black mayor of the city of New York. Charlie Rango would become the chair of Ways and Means in the U.S. Congress. Basil Patterson, once again, first black Secretary of State. And Percy Sutton, who was also Malcolm X's attorney, would become the Manhattan Borough president and a prominent businessman whose creation I still listen to every morning. I listen to Steve Harvey in the morning on that station called WBLS on 107.5. And so Inez Dickens, whose father was a state assemblyman back in the 1960s, who served her time in the New York City Council, bringing billions of dollars back to the village of Harlem, and then became the assembly lady representing Harlem up in Albany, and was a fighter assisting us in getting all of our bills passed in Albany. Without further ado, Inez Dickens, former New York State Assembly lady, former New York City Council, and a product of the Gang of Four.
Family, because we are family, because I was an anomaly as an elected in that I am an MWBE before it became sexy to call it so. And so it was easy for me to fight alongside a great mayor. And I want to thank the New York City's Chief Diversity Officer, Mike Garner, for all his hard work, his dedication, and he didn't just start it when he started with this position. He did it way back when with Dormitory Authority and MTA. So give it up again, give it up again, give it up again. And to our mayor, our great mayor with foresight, a tenacious spirit, under great odds, to all of the deputy mayors, particularly Tiffany and Lorraine, and all of the commissioners that's here. I saw Adonis Rodriguez. I don't know if he's still here. Here he is right here. You know, sometimes we fall out, but that's all right. He's a good guy, a good guy. It was great to work with the two chairs, my colleagues in Albany, Assembly Member Bishat Hermelin and Senator James Saunders, for fighting for MWBE. And it's not easy. But there's one thing I want you to remember. Do not keep to yourself what this mayor has done. Talk about the 17 plus trillion dollars that went to MWBEs. Talk about the fact that this mayor raised the bar so that small business, Donald, our small businesses could compete for bigger contracts. Talk about it, tell it, because people don't know. They don't know and they don't understand. So it's important for each of us to be ambassadors, to fight, to show and tell what this mayor has indeed done for the city of New York and the great state of New York. Eric, don't be shy. Do not be shy in talking about it. He needs us right now. He needs us to be ambassadors to talk about the MWBE programs that he has done. Now, I know I'm supposed to be up here thanking you, and they gave me 1 minute to do so. And Tiffany, I see her off to the side. But that's okay, because I'm Inez E. Dickens, and I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take my time because I want each of you to understand the importance. Reverend Jacques DeGraff, you know what I'm talking about. You've been there in the trenches when we've been attacked. Tell what you know that this mayor has done to make this great city grow. Talk about it. Tell the world, tell your neighbors, tell your family, because they don't know. They think he maybe didn't do anything. Why? Because they're listening to the press. They're listening to the press. And the press can formulate ideas in your mind, be it right, wrong, and oftentimes outright lies. So it's up to us. We've all benefited in one way or another from the progress that this mayor has taken this city on the right path. MWBE is one major component of it. But he has done the same thing for education and health. He has fought for this great city of New York. And I'm not paid to say this, but you know, if any of you know me, you know, one thing I have, and I was taught this by my father, is that the only thing I have is my word. So I tend not to lie because, hell, I'm not going to remember to lie anyway. So it's easier for me to be honest and tell the truth. So as I stand here and say thank you for recognizing me, I accept it on behalf of each and every one of you, whether you are being honored today or not. I accept this on behalf of each of you that has worked and fought so hard in the vineyards, like the Velaz organization, to see to it that we get our fair share, that the MWBEs get their fair share. And it's not easy, because trust me, not just the Republicans, but other businesses don't want MWBEs to grow and survive. Talk about what you got. Talk about what you know this mayor has done. Talk about the programs. Talk about the $17 trillion. Talk about raising the bar so that small business could indeed bid on bigger contracts and not just $10,000 contracts. Talk about it. Tell everyone about it. Don't be ashamed. Stand up. Because if you don't, it's your business that's going to suffer. Thank you to each and every one of you.
You know, this fight, Reverend DeGraff, it must be something in the water that we drink in Harlem. that we look for a fight, right? So on behalf of the greatest city in the world, we want to present you with your crystal apple for your hard work and your leadership, not only in the assembly, but in the city council, but in the village of Harlem, where you're responsible for bringing billions of dollars in funding back to the village of Harlem.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we had 2 more awards for individuals who could not be here. One is for Assembly Lady Crystal Peoples-Stokes, who is the majority leader in the New York State Assembly, and Senator Leroy Comrie. They're up in Albany right now, and they're preparing for the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, which the Reverend and I will be leaving, going up right after this event. So next, we have MWBE advocates in the room. They fight, they live, they breathe MWBE. And they keep us honest. When something is not working, they let us know. When something is working, they let us know as well. And so the first award was being awarded to Dr. Hazel Dukes, but she's on a conference call with her national board of the NAACP. And Gary Johnson is here, and we're going to give the award to him. However, Dr. Hazel Dukes is a living icon who is still fighting for the justice of our people in this great country that we live in right now. She's the president of the New York State NAACP, and we wanted to give her, and recognize her, and give her award. Where's her award? It's packed in the back. So Gary, please tell Dr. Hazel Dukes, thank her for her outstanding leadership, and keep up the fight. Thank you. Next advocate is Liz Velez, who is the epitome of legacy. Her father started a company when it was not easy to break into the construction industry, but he did it. And he left the company in great hands, because we're bound by the hip as we fight every single day to make sure that firms who look like us and you have access to contracts in this great city. She also made history. She became the first chairperson of the Building Congress here in the city of New York, and she's the chairperson emeritus of the New York Building Congress. Liz Velez.
Thank you. Buenos tardes, familia. So, pinch me this evening. We are celebrating record levels of inclusion here in our amazing city. But I know that for me, I would literally not be up on this podium tonight without someone that Mike talked about, my father, Andrew Velez, who was the blood, sweat, and hustle of our company, establishing it over half a century ago in Brooklyn. But more so, we're celebrating tonight the opportunity programs that open the door of inclusion for New York City. And tonight, my friends, I am feeling very grateful. Grateful for this recognition, grateful to be honored with others whose voices directly contribute to the historic inclusion that we're celebrating today. Grateful to celebrate with you, and I feel ever more resolved to support equity and fairness. But I want to talk about something else today. It's critically important, I think, to underscore what is happening here, what the mayor's office is doing. He's opening up doors of opportunity through the public sector and the private sector. There's a direct ripple effect, my friends, in that. This evening, I am celebrating here with 2 forces that are setting our company, the Velez Organization, but our industry and our city off in a wonderful trajectory. Elise Santic from Google, if you could just wave, girl. I am so grateful for you and the powerhouse organization that you represent. We are so looking forward to starting construction at one of your flagship buildings here in New York City. For many of us as MWBEs, the public sector is where we cut our teeth. However, the private sector was often this elusive goal. Our work with Google has already impacted our growth, spurring on a series of major projects within our city, so thank you. And then another just quick shout out, because I'm taking my moment. Rocky Bucano, please wave, my friend. Everyone can see you anyway. You're the tallest man in the room. The vision and force behind the Hip Hop Museum. Yes. Hip hop, much like the programs that we are celebrating here tonight, was created to push back against the status quo, to push back against the marginalization of our communities. We are so looking forward, sir, to starting construction in a very short time to bring your dreams to life in the Bronx. Importantly, both of these exciting projects were born out of leadership and inclusion, exactly what we're celebrating today. Leadership and vision of the mayor's office from my good friends, Michael Garner, and the whole team here is the core of the value system of our great city. Thank you and the incredible team. We are impacting generations to come. Thank you so much.
Mr. Velez, on behalf of Mayor Eric Adams, Mayor of the greatest city in the world, here's your crystal apple for all of your advocacy, all of your driven results as we drive equity in the various industries, including construction.
Hear, hear. Thank you.
All right. Reverend Jacques DeGraff, I mean, it is his second advocacy award by the city of New York. But what can you say? You know, in 1971, and I tell this story all the time, in 1971, MGM made a movie in Harlem. It's a very iconic movie. It was the first time that there was a black male leading actor by the name of Richard Roundtree. It was the first time that a mainstream movie was directed by a black person by the name of Gordon Parks. It was the first time that the soundtrack won an Oscar by the name, artist by the name of Isaac Hayes. And it cost $750,000 to make the movie, and it grossed $15 million. And so Hollywood saw that it was an opportunity for them to make a lot more ethnic movies and black movies. But they called Gordon Parks the Renaissance Man. But I don't know who they were talking about, because the Reverend Jacques DeGraff is the Renaissance Man, or the Renaissance Man. If you have a problem, you call the Reverend Jacques DeGraff and you state your problem, and within 35 seconds, he will give you the answer. Anytime that you are troubled and you need prayer for a dying parent, you call him and he comes and he prays for you and the family. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce to some and to others the Reverend Jacques DeGraff.
Get ready, and get ready. We didn't just come down here to pat ourselves on the back. We came here to send a message to a nation. They say that the D, the I, and the E are out of order. That instead of that, we need to talk about merit. Well, I didn't come here by myself. I came here with the spirit of Al Venn and Percy Sutton. I came here with the spirit of Monica Foster and Andrew Velez. I came here with the spirit of your brothers and sisters and those who shed the tears and the blood to put us here today. I want to thank and take this moment to say I've got something to say, that we've got something to say to America and to the world. I want to thank the mayor of the greatest city in the world for this platform. Thank you, Mayor Adams, for what you have said and for what you have done. And then Michael Garner, they call him the Chief Diversity Officer because they got to put a corporate title on the, but he's really the people's champion. He's fighting for you, Violet. He's fighting for you, Dwayne. He's fighting for every person, and he does it 24/7. And we need to recognize Michael Garner as the people's champion. But they say that in not too long a time, there may not be any more M's or W's, that they're going to replace us with merit. And so I need you to help me tell them where we're going and who we are, because they clearly underestimate us. We've fought bigger giants. We've slain bigger foes. And we're going to stand here. We won't back up and we won't back down. And so I need you to join me in my faith tradition, because anyone can have faith on Christmas or Easter. But on Good Friday, we have a Good Friday faith. And we need to tell it like it is. In the book that I come from, your part is be moved. I'm going to ask you 3 times, and when I point to you, be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We are standing tall because we are New York City, the greatest city in the world. And together, the best is still yet to come. God bless you today.
So, Rev, in the spirit of Al Van, Monica Foster, Charlie Rango, Clarence Norman, and everybody who has fought for us, this is your piece of New York City, your piece of the apple. You know, this is New York City, and it's New York State. It's pro-business, but it's also pro-labor. Nothing moves in New York City or New York State without labor, and their seal of approval, and rightfully so. When you think about what the labor movement has meant and what it has done for people who look like me, 4 parents who came from down south who were sharecroppers after slavery, came to Chicago and Detroit and New York and Buffalo and worked in manufacturing of automobiles that created a pathway to the middle class for their descendants, including me. And so when we got our bills passed up in Albany, we got a phone call late one night on Thursday night. And it came from labor, and they said that we have a problem with your mentor program bill, and we're going to pull it. And so we called Gary LaBarbera, and he said, give me 5 minutes. He called us back, and he said, I'm going to overrule them, and I'm going to deal with this later. I gave you my word, and that bill is going through. And so in 2 weeks, we will be issuing contracts for the City of New York's centralized construction mentoring program. And Gary, you're a man of your word, and I'm a man of my word, and we're going to work in tandem together as we move forward. Let's forget about yesteryear and all the bickering. Let's unite, let's move forward, and let's drive effective change. Gary LaBarbera.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. First of all, before I have any acknowledgments, I have to say that certainly Reverend DeGraff is moved by the Spirit. Tough person to follow. But I do want to say this, and as Jacques knows, regardless of the color of our skin or where we're from, we all share the same God. And I think that's important for us to always remember that we are bound spiritually. I want to thank Mayor Adams, and I want to thank Michael Gardner in particular for the work that they are doing. And, you know, he's been acknowledged, but I want to acknowledge him again on behalf of labor. I've never met anyone that works more tirelessly on the issues of advancing MWBEs. And I want to just say really quickly, because I know there's a lot of speakers here, Michael said something that was very important. We're not looking back, right? We are only looking forward. And we have done many things together, organized labor, in particular in the construction industry over the last year or two. And we are making a lot of progress. And one of the things that we have to really understand and establish, which Michael's doing an incredible job, is trust. And we have to have trust of one another. And I want to just say this, thank you to Mayor Adams. We negotiate project labor agreements. Many of the construction people in here are working under them right now. We just finished 2, and we're now dealing with 3 more project labor agreements. But this is over $50 billion, $50 billion of work coming in the construction industry just through the City of New York agencies. And what I have expressed to Michael is that with all the work with the city alone, and I can assure you that private sector work is going to ramp up as well, we are going to need more union contractors in this city. And by creating that opportunity to take on bigger scale projects beyond just public sector is critical. And that's why we are working so closely on a mentoring program to build paths to move forward and giving the ability to MWBEs to transition from relatively small contracts into very significant contracts. The other thing I'm going to say before I close, yes, it's critically important to develop this contractor community with the MWBE community. We need union contractors. But there's also a piece of this that I would be remiss if I didn't mention. We talk about the fights that labor has had for workers' rights. We're fighting for all people. We're fighting for civil rights. The pathways that project labor agreements give to the workers that come into the unions are truly pathways to the middle class. So there is a moment in which all things transect, where we can do things that are good for the city. We can do things that are good for the MWBE contractors, and we can do good things for the workers and employees of those contractors, creating pathways together for those workers into the middle class. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor Adams. Thank you, Michael. And I will end from my heart the same way that Reverend DeGraff ended, because this is very important to me. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
So on behalf of New York City and Mayor Adams, thank you, Gary, for your outstanding leadership and support of labor.
Absolutely.
Here's your piece of the apple.
Thank you very much. I'll cherish it. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Gary.
Okay.
All right. We also was honoring the Honorable Mark Morial, the former mayor of the great Crescent City of New Orleans. But he's in New Orleans right now as we currently speak. He's also the president of the National Urban League. But also, last but not least, a surprise, and I did it on purpose, because if I would have told him that he was getting an award, he'd have stayed up 5 hours last night writing his comments. And so Bill Howe, who is the president of Howe Industries, who's also one of my 100 black men brothers, has been in the vineyard fighting for the rights for a very, very long time, since the School Construction Authority days, the MTA days, and now at the City of New York. And without further ado, I want to introduce to you Bill Howe, the president of Howe Industries.
Somebody told me, so I did stay up 5 hours. Mayor Adams, thank you for your commitment to minority and women-owned businesses, and for showing that inclusion is not only the right thing to do, but it's also good business. I'm also grateful for your appointment of Michael Garner to lead this effort. His passion, his knowledge, dedication in advancing inclusion are unmatched. This recognition is not just mine, but belongs to all of us working to build a more equitable society. Special thanks to Gordon Tung, with the School Construction Authority, Suzanne Vieira, Barrett Stokes, okay, from Webster Bank, TDX, and Cal Wooner. I said, okay, Wooner. And their team for mentoring MWBE contractors. And thank you to my daughters, my legacy, Joy and Amy, who are my rock. And they're here tonight, by the way. So, who, along, okay, with my entire family, I thank them, okay, for their support. Mentoring contractors is my passion, and I'm deeply honored to accept this award. And before I take my seat, though, I want to acknowledge the brothers of the 100, who are here tonight, and ask them to raise their hand, make some noise, whatever. This is an organization that does so much for the city of New York and for our community, founded by the Honorable Mayor David Dinkins and so many other, Jackie Robinson and so many other great brothers. Michael, thank you very much, okay, for this award. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So we're giving Bill his apple in Manhattan because his Manhattan card expires at 5 o'clock and he needs to get back to Brooklyn. So, Bill, on behalf of the city of New York, Mayor Adams, the greatest city in the world, here's your piece of the apple. All right. So now comes the fun part of the agencies. So we're going to recognize 4 agencies who are executing on a daily basis on Mayor Adams's vision for inclusion. So we're going to recognize the agency that has the highest percentage of MWBE. We're going to recognize the most improved agency. We're going to recognize 2 agencies. Last year, the city of New York awarded $6.4 billion to minority-owned businesses, $6.4 billion. $1 billion of that was awarded to black-owned businesses. $800 million of that was awarded to Hispanic-owned businesses. $1.4 billion of that was awarded to WBEs. And so we are also effectively dealing with the disparity within the disparity. And so I want to call up Commissioner Gross, who's going to take over from here, recognizing these outstanding agencies. And I just got to tell you that DOT Commissioner Rodriguez, he starts his senior meetings off, all of his senior meetings off, by asking a question: how are we doing with our MWBE?
Good afternoon, everyone. What a beautiful crowd. It's so lovely to be here with all of you. I was talking with my staff earlier today, and they told me about this trend, maybe a rumor. I think they called it work-life balance. I don't know about it. It's not part of my life. I haven't experienced it. And you've also heard the saying, grow where you're planted. I've been planted, and it's a privilege to lead a city agency at a time when there's so much tremendous work to be done. And behind me is some of the garden that I've been planted in, leaders of our public authorities and city agencies who are similarly, I won't call you workaholics, but obsessed with doing the good work, the public mission of the city of New York, from physical infrastructure to all kinds of service delivery. And it is a privilege to honor those of them today who have balanced that impressive and important and challenging work with a commitment to equity and excelled in MWBE utilization. Because the fact of the matter is MWBEs get stuff done for New York City. So it's always challenging when you have to switch up the program a little bit, but Michael Garner has given me the responsibility of switching up the program a little bit. We're going to recognize each authority leader or agency leader, but we only have one speaker from the group. And that speaker is going to be Commissioner Rodriguez. But I'll call out each one and we'll distribute the Red Apple Awards. So our first recognition today for city agency achievement goes to NYCHA CEO Lisa Bova Hyatt. This in 2024, fiscal year 2024, NYCHA exceeded $1 billion in MWBE awards. Our second award goes to Suzanne Vieira of the New York City School Construction Authority. Suzanne accepts this award on behalf of President Nina Kubota of the SCA. The School Construction Authority also exceeded $1 billion in contract awards in fiscal year 2024. Okay. Our third award goes to, I'm not allowed to have favorite commissioners. Yes, you do. Okay. She's kind of my favorite. It's the work she does, but also the spirit that she brings to it. It goes to Commissioner Vera Mayuga. Like that. She leads the city's Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and of all of the city agencies, DCWP had the highest MWBE utilization percentage in FY24, 97%. Last, but certainly not least in this group, I would like to call forward Commissioner Idanes Rodriguez. His agency, the New York City Department of Transportation, is being recognized today for the tremendous improvement in their MWBE utilization rate in fiscal year 2024 from 8% to over 32%.
Bueno, yo voy a hablar en español hoy, así que el que no hable español va a tener problemas. I'm just kidding. So, yes, still today, Spanish is my native language. I share the island with Rodney from Haiti, La Hispaniola in the yard. Okay, so at 55 Water Street, from where now I lead the largest department of transportation that any city have, of a budget of $32 billion capital for 10 years, 1.3 billion expense, 6,000 men and women responsible to manage 27% of our land, roadways, sidewalk, ferry, signal. I used to work there doing sandwiches, turkey, bacon, and cheese in 1983 in my second job, okay? So, guy, when we go to sleep, we are there with only another person or part of our body that we can talk to. And that's our consciousness. Everyone here know what you have done. But you can be fake or you can be real. You can think that, say a lot of things. The question is, who are you? Do you really care for following the leadership of a mayor who in 1991, when a student were organizing a city college in CUNY, persuading Mario Cuomo not to increase tuition and cut the budget. He was a transit police, and he went to Staten Island, where JP, now VP of Governmental Affairs for the Boston Division, the TWU, he was there. So the mayor that we have today had to be smart on how to navigate. But it's the same thing that Christine Quinn did when she was the speaker. She needs to work with Bloomberg in order to navigate the council and be able to deliver for the council member. So our mayor today is a mayor that I met when he was a transit police. When he was part of, as a captain, 100 black police officers. Reverend Sharkto and other leaders, we took the street. And because of all those fights, same thing in the fire department, those agencies now look like what New York City is today. Well, there was another commissioner, DOT of color, who held the job for a few months. And I'm the second commissioner of color there. So I only had this opportunity because the movie See Habitat, I See You, he saw my skill. He saw that English is not. I'm not a native English speaking. And even today, the media doesn't give me the same time as they gave to all the previous commissioners. Even today, some people say, well, Mayor, how you elect a commissioner who is not an urban planning, is not an engineer. None of the previous commissioners were urban planning or they were engineer. But now, someone who is the first Latino, the second person of color, must be an engineer, something that the previous Grace commissioner were not. So I can tell you one thing. As a captain, he went to City College to help me to speak with Anthony Miranda to our youth on how to be smart to navigate the street, because there was a lot of a sexy use of power by some leadership of the NYPD. He was there in the field, taking the agency with 11% or less of NWBE. When I was a chairman of the Transportation Committee, and I asked a question over and over and over, as I was a member for 12 years, and listen, we always get great talking point as commissioner. You know, they always have great talking point. But you know what is different? That we move the number to 32%. There's a brother here, who is a brother with 200 architect or engineer. That brother there, for the first time, Mr. Mayor, he had 200 members in his firm. He never had a contract with the Department of Bridges with us. He had done job in many cities. He went to DOT. We met with Carlos and Nancy. We connected with the Bridges for the first time. He's not going to be as an NWBE. He's going to be a prime. So that's what is happening. But I ended with this. Carlos and Nancy do procurement. I don't get involved on anything more than the policy. You want to do business with the DOT, be sure that the evaluation committee for the first time must be diverse. Because I learned accounting. There's a lot of departments, they talk a lot, but when you see who's interviewing, those members, they don't look like the city. So for the first time, Nancy know what they should follow. Carlos, for the first time, with Michael Gardner and the mayor, guys, those of you who are prime, that is here with another friend who is NWBE, there's no more waiver on this administration. So when anyone went to the DOT, they thought that they could go to City Hall getting a waiver not to do NWBE. Well, that's how I moved the number from 11% to 32%. And by the way, don't make mistake. This is only the beginning. And I'm saying that until you're four, I get paid to do what I love to do. But you know what is my commitment today? My commitment to be sure that the leaders that we have today will continue doing this job, delivering for the city of New York, and that person is our great friend and brother, Eric Adams.
All right. So So DOT Commissioner mentioned Michael Sutton. Michael Sutton is from Chicago, and he's currently working as a prime on a $140 million contract on the Obama Center on the south side of Chicago, and he's here working for the city of New York as well. And with that being said, I'm from Harlem, grew up in Chicago, and my state senator was a gentleman by the name of Harold Washington. He lived around the corner from me. And he became state senator to Congressman Washington to Mayor Washington. And when you talk about a commonality of Harold Washington, Maynard Jackson, Coleman Young, Mark Morial, and their respective cities, the commonality is that they were black, they had tough races, they won, they opened City Hall up to everyone. They were criticized because they changed the way that those cities were doing business, including this one here. Think about this for a second. $17.7 billion in contract awards since Mayor Adams' first day in office. No other city or state in the nation has achieved that. NYCHA, $1.2 billion. Thank you, Guy, for your outstanding leadership. Thank you, Stacy, for over at the NYCHA Land Trust right now. We found a deficiency with ethnic minority law firms getting business from the city of New York. And Stacy came in, they issued an RFP for the NYCHA Land Trust. 7 out of the 11 law firms received contracts that were certified MWBE under their outstanding leadership, and they helped us get our mentor program up, operating, started. So thank you, Stacy, the NYCHA Land Trust, and the FCA as well. So Mayor Eric Adams has done everything that he said he was going to do on the campaign trail. He's turned his city around. MWBE's firms are getting record number of contracts. Crime is down. Jobs are up. This city is back. The 110th mayor in the great city of New York, Mayor Eric Adams. Yeah.
Stay focused, no distractions, and grind. Stay focused, no distractions, and grind.
Thank you. And I'm going to be extremely brief because we want to honor those who are here. I will praise the Lord at all times. His praises shall continually be in my mouth. And when you've gone through some stuff, you have a tendency to acknowledge how you have gotten through some stuff. And I will praise the Lord at all times, at all times. I was running late because I was doing an interview with 5 news stations, and people say that, you know, you're now on a short lease, you're now under control, you're now this, you're now that, over and over again. People have forgot who I am. I was a member of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care. The commissioners determined my employment and my salary. In the midst of that, I started an organization that fought for reforms to make sure we could have a police department that would have justice and safety. They go together. People embraced me when I talked about justice. They got upset when I talked about safety. They wanted me to be one way or another, and I'm not. I'm consistent in my message. So anyone who believes I'm on a short leash, they need to go back and look at my history. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I've been doing this for a long, long time. And all those who critique me, if they would have gone through what I've gone through for the last 15 months, they would not have stepped up. They would have stepped down. But I'm going to continue to produce. We got a good product. We've had good partners with the assembly women that are both here, fought for us in Albany. When I think about what Sister Inez, what you did, and what Ranice has done in Albany, they laid the groundwork that we are now building on. Because of the changes they made from 500,000 discretionary dollars, 1 million, then 1.5, the local hiring, to clear the pathways, we've been able to turn this around. And Commissioner Rodriguez is right, 11% to 30%. Think about it for a moment. What we did citywide, 30%. That's not where we were, folks. When you look at what we have been able to accomplish from building more housing in year 1 and year 2, transitioning more people out of shelters into permanent housing in the history of the city, more people getting FEPS vouchers in the history of the program, investing in foster care children to give them college tuition until they graduate, and life coaches until they're 26, reducing the cost of child care from $55 a week to less than $5 a week, turning around our economy. More jobs are in the city and the city history. 20,000 guns removed off the street. Subway system is safe as it has been in years. Moving all of these illegal vehicles, 80,000 illegal vehicles taken off our streets. Closing illegal cannabis shops so the legal shops can grow. Open up procurement opportunities for all of you. Focus and discipline on the message. I walked into a senior center the other day, and all the news was there, wanted to talk about everything, but those seniors inside there stood up, gave me a round of applause, and basically said, ignore all of that. Keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to pray for you. We're going to make sure you can succeed in what is happening. Don't let the noise get in the way. They're trying to distract us. They're trying to get us off our mission. They want to cover everything but this. Why aren't they covering this? Why aren't they covering how successful we are? And they talk about how divided we are. We're united. Well, Brother Gary, where is he? Gary LaBarbera, what he's doing around opening construction sites and bringing the diversity with him is what we've been fighting for. No one wants to see how united we are. That's not good news. That doesn't sell papers. That doesn't give you clicks. We're not going to beat what we are fighting to improve our city on social media. We're going to do it with people on Social Security. It's not the tweets, it's what you do on the streets. We're producing a product that this country is going to be proud of. And that's why we want to thank you and all of our honorees. We have been focused on the mission. I tell my people all the time, stay focused, no distractions, and grind. That's what we do. And no matter what happens, we're going to stay focused on that. And if you would look into your own lives, I say over and over again, we're all going through some stuff, folks. Who are we kidding? All of us. Maybe a loved one. I saw my sister the other day who was in the hospital and sit down next to her bed. We may be going through our personal tragedies. We may be worrying about our businesses is going to stay open. I was up in Harlem where a young lady has a skincare where we gave her $60,000 in our small business services. Commissioner Gross, if she's here, to keep her business open. We have stories after stories. We call them the Adams administration stories of people telling us how much we were there for them. And we're going to continue to do that. And I want your businesses to grow and to thrive. Over $30 million, we stopped our city agencies from fining you and finding ways to tax you through citations. We want to make sure that agencies are responding to you when you call so you can get your doors open. We're going to do the businesses on the go so that we can go out and meet you where you are. I need you to thrive and grow. This is the empire states. There was a day when we made empires instead of destroying them. It got in the way of the empires. We need to make more empires. We need to allow you to hire more, employ more, mentor more, train more. That's why we're doing what we're doing. I am living up to my promise. And we're going to expand our partnership with those entities like the laborers and Gary and others. We've been very successful as an administration. And when people reflect on this administration, this is going to be one of the greatest mayoral administrations in the history of this city. And it's not only what we have done, but what we have overcome. What we have overcome. We are who we believe we are. And we're going to continue to forge ahead. And so I say to you, as I say to the team, ignore the noise. Stay focused on the mission. And we're going to accomplish that mission together. Congratulations to all my businesses and congratulations to our honorees. Thank you very much. How are you? No, kids, continue.
Yeah. All right, last but not least, we're going to recognize some of the businesses who have gotten major contracts here from the city of New York. I want to bring up Lisa Flores, the director of the Mayor's Office of Contracts.
I know you guys have been standing for a long time, but make sure that we pay attention to really give a shout out to all the businesses here. So first I want to thank the mayor, obviously for the vision since day one of having someone like Michael Gardner lead all of us into my partnership with Commissioner Gross, the first deputy mayor, and all the commissioners. Because today is not just about the amazing work that we all have done this year and with Michael's leadership, but really as someone who is the director of the Mayor's Office of Contract Services and have been in government for 22 years, it's about the power of procurement, right? All these contracts and all the things we're talking about start and end with how the power of procurement means that you have the opportunity to create generational wealth in places that did not exist before. It means that you're putting dollars into your communities.
Excuse me, give us 5 minutes. We're recognizing some of the success stories here in the city of New York. 5 minutes. Thank you.
And, you know, thank you, but we had to have a man make everyone be quiet. See? I'm done. Again, the power of procurement, understanding you get economic opportunity in your neighborhoods, but also you're giving economic success to individuals, and this is something that is generational. And for someone like myself, being able to see this come to fruition within one administration, the first term, not the last term, is so inspiring. And that's why at MOC, since day one, we've been focusing on how do we create a more equitable procurement system? How do we give you access? Because no one in this room is asking for a handout. All you want is someone to open the door and you'll do the rest, right? And that's why we've been focusing from day one on people, procurement reform, and technology. It starts and ends with people, which is why we have been bringing the information to you, making sure that you have in your MOCs in your neighborhood getting started, you have all the information to demystify what seems like a crazy system, and it definitely feels every single day like it's getting crazier, but we are committed to making sure that we're breaking down the bureaucracy. It's also about procurement reform. Some of the laws and the rules that are on the books that some of these icons who were here a moment ago have been working on for decades were set purposely to keep you out, right? Set purposely to make it so difficult or so slow that you give up. And we have in this administration not only the amazing tools that we have for MJB procurement, but we've shaved off 70 days of the procurement process, and we have a lot more coming. We've changed public hearing, we've changed FCB, and we've changed Local Law 63. Some of these laws have not been touched since the 80s, okay? I was born already, but still, that's a long time for us to have rules on the books that are preventing you from getting contracts. And I want to say, so important what the mayor just said and what we hear every day, and that is part of our ethos, and it's something that is part of your ethos for all of you to get to a place where you're successful as a business, is to stay focused, no distractions, and grind. Because you would not have been able to get to where you are today if you didn't have that in your blood from day one, making sure that you continue to knock on those doors, you continue to fight against that bureaucracy, you continue to make sure that you are fighting for your business to grow. And for some of the folks that we're going to highlight in a moment, these are folks who have committed not only to growing their companies, but giving back to the companies in their neighborhoods. And not only, if I'm a black business, to help a black business, but to help all businesses. If I'm a Latino, it's not just about helping a Latino business, because if we succeed, all of us succeed. So thank you for paying attention and for listening to Michael tell you all the shush. And I'm going to call up all of the folks, and then we're going to do our awards, and I want to give a few moments, and please continue to stay focused. Shh. Thank you this time. Thank you. So that we can have one of our folks give a short speech. So I want to call up now Andrew Simmons from A&S Rebar. How are you? She's not here, but I'm going to say a few words also about Jenna Valles from Valles Vendola. I want to call up Rafael Perez from GCOM Construction Company. Hola, mi amor. And of course, Nyan from Ashnew International. And let me just say a few words, guys, okay? Andrew Simmons, I've met you a few times, and you are absolutely amazing. AS Rebar, a Black-owned MWBE established in 2014, has secured over $18.6 million in contracts recently with DEP, shout out to DEP, showcasing their dedication to excellence in the infrastructure sector. Andrew has over 20 years of experience in the construction industry and 15 years of experience fabricating, furnishing, bending, and installing steel rebar. And I can tell you, as I know this, having had conversations with Andrew, rebar is essential to all of our construction projects, but we don't have really any minorities in this space, and so I really want to give a big shout out to Andrew Simmons. Jenna, who's not here today, but I want to say a few words on her behalf as well. An Asian Pacific MWBE established in April 2006 has earned $20 million in contracts, demonstrating their strong presence and success within the MWBE community. Jenna not only has over 15 years of experience in the public accounting, internal auditing, and corporate controllership, but is leading the largest Filipino-owned firm of certified public accountants in the Eastern United States. Give a big shout out. Next, Rafael Perez, principal at GCOM Construction Company. GCOM Construction, a Hispanic-owned MWBE, WEPA, established in February 2005, is part of a joint venture of the LES Resilience Project, a $50 million contract. That's a big shout out. GCOM has successfully completed many complex multi-million-dollar projects, but still finds time to serve on the New York City SBS Latino American Small Business Task Force. Thank you for all your work there, and providing feedback on how barriers in the community face and business regulations, as we talked about earlier, need to continue to be cut so that it can be easier to do business with New York City. And last but not least, Nyan from Ashnew International. Ashnew International, an Asian Indian-owned MWBE established in 1998, has earned over $90 million in contracts. Nyan is also vice president of the National Association of Minority Contracts, or NAMIC, and he has dedicated his career to building up other MWBEs to achieve their dreams. And Nyan definitely represents, as I mentioned earlier, how it's important for us, you know, as many of us know from our families and our upbringing, two things, right? No one's going to knock on your door and offer you something, so you have to go out there every single day and grind and hit the pavement. And sometimes, for no other good reason but because of how you look or how you speak, people are going to close the door in your face. And that's why it's so important with all the leaders here and all of you and with Nyan of making sure that as you succeed, you continue to make sure that you kick that door open, you wedge it open, you put a chair, you put a box, and make sure that everyone can run through with you, because we are not going to succeed, especially in these difficult times, if we don't continue to establish and maintain the community of all of us together. So thank you, and Nyan, a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Eric Adams, and thank you, Chief Diversity Officer, Mr. Michael Garner. On behalf of my two friends that have been industry friends for many years, we said thank you so much for giving this recognition. And this MWB program is so important, and I won't be standing here today if it's not for New York City School Construction Authority mentor program. I started my career there in 2006 as a mentor contractor doing $100,000 jobs, and today I won 50, 60, $70 million single projects. So this is real. MWB program is so real, and I would say thank you very much to Gordon Tung, Susan Vieira, and entire school construction team, and all other brothers and sisters in this room. This is a real program, and please follow up. And once again, thank you so much for the recognition on behalf of me and my two friends. Thank you so much.
My goodness, you're tall. We have a change in program. We're going to make sure everyone else gets a moment to talk, so I'm going to call up Andrew.
I want to say thank you to Mayor Adams and for his leadership and his support and his staff, and especially Michael Gardner. You know, Michael Gardner, you know, I always know he's somewhere behind the scene fighting for minority companies and my company and others, you know, and that mean a lot to me. You know, it helps me grow and scale and be diverse in the rooms. You know, I'm into transportation and infrastructure. So I'm very grateful that I helped build these water treatment plants, and this has been huge for me, and I want to continue to keep that growth and continue to build the diversity among my company and with others. Thank you.
And last but not least, Rafael.
So hi everyone. I'm gonna keep this simple. And first of all, we obviously have to thank all the commissioners, Mr. Michael Gardner and Mr. Adams, of course, for recognizing us today and all the WBEs that are here tonight. But I just want to say thank you to everyone, all the city, for letting GCCOM Construction Company, and our founders right there, Mr. Plisich, and Doug is running that beautiful resiliency project that everyone drives down the FDR and you see the new bridges and the new park. We were fortunate enough to get a nice contract down there, as Lisa mentioned. But thank you for letting us do what we love to do, which is heavy construction, rebuilding the city, beautiful #1 city in the world, and I was born in Manhattan, and letting us reconstruct the infrastructure of New York City, which is an amazing feat to be able to do what you love to do, drive over it, walk over it, touch it, feel it. You're not just behind a desk, and this is what we do. So recognizing GCCOM Construction Company today is an honor, and I'll speak for all the other heavy construction and my partners here today. Congratulations, guys, because we all work together in different facets. But do, what you love to do, and don't stop doing it. And where else to do it better than New York City? Nowhere else in the world. Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to see you at Mayor Adams' third MWBE conference award ceremony next year, same time, same place. And I just want to bring my staff down, and Medalia, Michelle, Ruby, Dwight Flynn. Where is Kathy and Marisol? Marisol's right here, and where's Kathy? And Johnny, you still part of this team. Come on. This is the team that makes it work in conjunction with SBS and Mox on a daily basis. And see, Johnny used to work for us, and I had some influence on him because now he's wearing pinstripe suits, you see? But this is the staff that makes it happen every single day. And Rev, and Gary, I am a shoe person, right? And I got to tell you, if you look at Nike's leader and look at her shoes, those are the shoes of the decade. So thank you. Let's keep this thing moving. We're breaking records. It's a very exciting time in the city of New York as we drive effective MWBE change. Thank you.